Let's get ready to rumble.
Yes, we're back. Episode 165 of the Hibs Ramble. It's your host, as always, here, Liam, and I'm joined by the wonderful Mr. Gav, Dick, and the beautiful Mr. Shaun Corrigan. How the devil are we, boys?
Good.
How are you, Shaun?
Good. I'm back. Not for long, but I'm back.
Talkative of the night, boys. Gav, you recovered yet?
I don't think I was as mental as some of the Hibs support, but no, it was a great trip.
It was a good trip. Shaun, how was your week at home? Watching us all on the telly and on your phone?
Well, some of us have important things to do, saving lives and looking after people over here. Somebody's got to
Getting cats for
fight the
trees
fire,
and that.
so to speak. Listen, we can't all go to all European trips, and as I said to you in the chat, if I speak, I'm in big trouble. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. We'll get on again. Very, very shortly. But this week we do have a little bit of news, a little bit of transfer news coming out on Easter Road, and it is Jacob Devaney, who looks like he is going to be signing on loan. Of course, was at St Mirren last year on loan. He's a mobile six. Usually plays as a defensive midfielder. He's been capped for Ireland under 21s, and of course his parent club is Manchester United, which by the looks of it, after the weekend, they could maybe use a little bit of help in the midfield. But Shaun, it's probably an area of the park that we're looking to improve upon. Was he a name that you expected us to be linked with?
Yes and no. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I was his biggest fan last season. Fleeting thought last season, in my opinion, obviously from the outside looking in. I'm not overly surprised when we get towards the end of the window and we start to look at young players and loans. That's just the nature of how the transfer window works. He didn't, from what I can remember, like I said, he was a fleeting thought. I don't remember him doing too much in the St Mirren side. I know he played a few games. I don't think he played any more than like maybe 15 or something like that. And there's a couple where he only played 45 minutes per game. Obviously, he was playing in a St Mirren side when they weren't really doing too well either. And correct me if I'm wrong, I think he did he come in the January for them. So they were kind of already on a downward trajectory at that point. But listen, he still played in a victory over Hearts, so any player that does that is good enough for me. Get him in.
So he made 18 appearances across all competitions for St Mirren last season, and it looks like he got 1 goal and 1 assist and 3 yellow cards. So I can't remember if he came in January or not. I have a feeling he was there since the start of the season, but I mean, I might be wrong. I do remember seeing clips of him here and there and thinking, oh, he looks like a half-decent player. I think Stephen Robinson has got a bit of a knack of uncovering good players, young good players from down south. So there was no really any surprise, I think, when he came in and made an impact when Robinson was still there. But Gav, I mean, we look like we need a six, but you know, it's going to make us really, really bloated in that area of the park. Do you see any outgoing movement to allow Jacob to come in?
I'm not too sure. I think obviously the guy that everyone's been saying is probably Alisson Amana that is going to leave. That looks it's not happened as of yet. I think Devaney would be a good addition to the squad. Again, I think I said in the last podcast was that it'll probably require guys leaving for guys to come in. Certainly in that area of the pitch, as that's like you said, we're quite bloated in. But I think he seems to be quite versatile. I think he was maybe played sometimes in an 8. I don't think he was as effective from just seeing highlights of him in the 8 as he was in the 6. Maybe it looks a tidy player, and if he comes in, it'll be good. We're really needing someone in that position to just let Mulligan and Chiva maybe do more of what they want to do.
Yeah, and I think as well it helps that he knows the league. David Gray likes to identify a player that can't fucking see all that sun coming in through the window. David Gray likes to identify a player that knows the top flight and knows kind of the teams that he's going to be playing against. So I think it does make sense. Apparently, he was in Belgium. I did hear mumblings that they were trying to get it over the line in time for him to be registered for the tie so we could play in the second leg. Not too sure how true it was that he was even there, but it all sounds like it's fairly close. I think when the Hibs Observer starts picking things up and starts telling us about them, I think that it's probably a little bit of a foregone conclusion. But Shaun, just touching on what Gav said there, I mean, even with Alassane Mane going out, if he does, it still makes us very, very bloated in that area. I mean, off the top of my head, you got Mulligan, Chaiwa, Campbell, McGrath, and Azim Abdullahi in there as well, and Joe Newell. So you would imagine that one or two on top of Alassane Mane is probably going to have to move on.
I would think so. I mean, logically, yeah, but if you look at the names that you've just said, none of them are going to go, in my opinion, unless obviously we receive a healthy bid for Mulligan and or Chaiwa, and even then, he's not going to be a replacement for either of them. I think what's been clear for me in the games that we've had this season, especially in the earlier games, is a midfield two of Mulligan and Chaiwa just doesn't work, and we need that third body in there. So when we've had Campbell or McGrath in there, the balance has been a lot better. When Azim's been in there, he would probably get ahead of him and Joe Newell for me from what I've seen. He would definitely give us a wee bit more legs in there as well, and a little bit more of a structure if he was to be a six. But I don't see him. Listen, he could come in and he could fucking tear it up in the middle of the park playing alongside Chaiwa and Milligan. But if he's predominantly going to be based as a six, that screams to me he'll be coming on last 10, 15, 20, 25 minutes to hold off teams, break up play, and kind of keep a lead and basically fill the midfield a wee bit more. That's what that seems to me, and just to give him a little bit more taste of men's football, so to speak.
I think you're absolutely right in terms of the balance needs addressed, because I mean, me and Gav spoke about it, me and John spoke about it, and we've always been talking about it in chat. The Mulligan and Chaiwa for me are far too similar. Both very, very good players, but they want to do too much of driving the ball on and just being everywhere. Whereas I think you need that anchor point. And I thought I actually said to you, Gav, didn't on the last pod that we were on together, I think Azim Abdullahi would have been that anchor point. And I think that if you look at the kind of physical profile that David Gray likes in a defensive midfielder, I think Azim Abdullahi fits that to a T. Tall, strong, mobile, and someone who's going to sit back and just go through folk. Someone who's actually, someone who's actually got a little bit of quality going forward. We've not seen an awful lot of Azim Abdullahi, and what we have seen of him is not played relatively anywhere near towards the kind of levels that we would expect from a Hibs signing. But I felt that was going to be where Azim Abdullahi would fit in, and now I'm wondering if he's actually going to fit in at all. So I don't even know. I feel like it's just such a head scratcher, that signing.
Yeah, like I said, if we've got him in there, and then we've got the likes of Joe Newell, who's obviously been coming on as well, and then we bring him in as an additional midfielder. It's not. Listen, if we get through to the group stage of the conference, it'll definitely be a handy player to have around, and it will definitely work in our favour. However, what strikes me about recent team selection is David Gray is very happy with 10 to 12 players, maybe 13 players. Out with that, I don't know how many of them he actually trusts yet. Hence why we've had a lot of the same starting 11. I know we've got a couple of injuries, like Rocky's still out and things like that as well. I just feel like at the minute we do seem to have a great squad size, but not a great squad quality, which I'm not too fussed about, to be honest. If the 10 to 14 that David Gray is picking are of real quality and it's getting us the results. But if we do qualify for the league phase, and even if we don't qualify for the league phase, these key players will start to kind of run out of legs at some point, especially if we've got midweek games and we're playing catch up and stuff like that, games away from home. So it will be really interesting to see if the players that you've just mentioned there can actually step up, especially those that maybe haven't reached the levels that we maybe anticipated them to reach at this moment in time.
It's maybe a good point, actually, in terms of squad size. Is maybe David Gray looking to speculate to accumulate in terms of getting the amount of bodies in for the league phase, should we get there, Gav?
Yeah, I think that's maybe what he's trying to do off the back of last season, get into that playoff situation and kind of getting there. I think you do need a bigger squad, and I do think, as Sean mentioned, obviously, if we are to get to the group stage, guys like Abdullahi will get games.
Mm-hmm.
Guys that aren't in the team, maybe Nuo as such, will get games. I think it's a happy medium. I think you kind of need to have a big enough squad that if injuries are to come, which will be in the season, if you don't get confidence, or you do, which you'll get injuries, you need a big enough squad to make sure that the squad isn't impacted as much. And I think I wouldn't be too bored if we didn't make as many signings, because ultimately I've kind of said from the get go that it will require that guys leaving, and I don't think a lot of these guys will want to leave
Right
because
now.
maybe what they're getting paid, maybe because the offers that are coming in aren't to their standard. I think it just really does boil down to that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, we're talking about guys leaving there. I mean, I think one that looks like he's heading out the door is Thibaut Clige. Has a mission from the match squad or the travelling squad to Gent, or actually the whole tie, so he'll not be involved in a home tie either. Probably one that we all kind of saw coming. Disappointing for me. It came with a lot of hype, a lot of pedigree. Maybe not pedigree is the right word, but a lot of hype. And then for me, Sean, he just didn't really get enough of a chance. You know, David Gray would use him, he would maybe come in and score, and then, you know, the next week he's an unused sub, and then the week after he's not on the squad, and then in January he was loaned out, and I don't know why it hasn't worked for Thibaut, and I'm a bit gutted, but listen, maybe best to try and recoup some of the money that we got for him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure Gav mentioned it last week actually, that there is certainly a player in there, and we have seen flashes of what he can do. Like, for a guy that small as well, he's got an incredible leap on him, and he certainly puts himself about, and he's got a bit of pace. I don't really know why it's not really worked out. I don't know if it comes back to the whole, like, David Gray maybe not trusting him. I spoke about it many times last season before he went on loan, that it just seemed that he didn't seem to be able to trust him to give him a run of games, and I don't know if that was maybe the pressure of, like, playing Bowie and Boyle and stuff like that, and then obviously Eli Yuan was getting games here and there as well. But at the end of the day, David Gray sees him day in, day out up at HTC. So if he is making that final decision, then based on what he's seeing, whether it be down to his quality or his application or his lack of ability potentially, I don't know. It just depends on the role that David Gray's wanting Clige to play within the squad. I feel like when we started the season and we had the kind of the 3-4-3 with the two tens, I wasn't happy with the two in the middle of the park because we were so wide and so open, but I felt with the two tens in behind, I thought that could have worked really, really well, with Clige being one of those two, because it would allow him and Eldon or him and Boyle to drift out wide, or, you know, go in behind low as well. But subsequently that hasn't happened again. So yeah, unfortunately it's not worked out for him. I'm getting a bit sick and tired of the amount of money that we're spending on players that just don't seem to be working out. I think we've done well with some previous transfers to a lot of money, or more money than what we've actually paid. Listen, putting the ball in the back of the net is the hardest thing to do on a football pitch, and you've got to have real quality to be able to do it. But how many, I'm not going to even call them duds, because whenever they seem to move on, and before they've come to Hibs, they've had real quality. But there's been a whole lot of players in the last 5 or 6 years that we've paid money for, and they've just really not been able to cut the mustard at Easter Road, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of disagree really. I completely forgot that Dylan Vente played for Hibs until I seen a video of us beating Luzerne. I think it was on the Persevere Originals Twitter page, and I was like, mate, mind him. I was like, we all thought he was going to be class, and then he went away on loan, and he was class on loan, and then we were just like,
He
we'll just
scored
sell you.
8 goals
So
with 8 shots on target.
I was
Like,
mentally like
anything that came
the
into the
first.
box, he could finish it. And we just couldn't create enough for him.
Yeah, I mean, we did really well, I think, to get. I don't know if we got more money or just the same for Venti, but I completely forgot about him, man. But yeah, I mean, if I'm being greedy, between now and the end of the window, I'd like to see us bring in Devaney, and I would like us to bring in a striker, especially if Cleege goes. And I would like to see us bring in someone with a little bit of pace who can kind of play in the forward areas. I'm not saying directly a winger, directly a striker or anything like that. I just maybe someone who's a bit versatile who can play just at the top end of the park with pace, because I feel like that's something we're badly lacking. Gav, if there's anyone that you could bring in or any positions that you want to strengthen before the window shuts, who would you want to be?
I do think that I'd probably say out of all the positions, I do agree with the positions that they seem to be the ones that everyone's crying out for. And I think the most important position is probably the 6, if you're getting anything. I do worry with the team with the pace. I think the guys we've got that are playing these wide positions, they're good at what they do, slightly lacking in a wee bit of trickery, which is obviously what you're going to get with guys that are defenders or defenders. I think a striker. I'm not too worried about a winger because I do see something in Suto. I think he seems to be a wee bit better playing out wide. He's not maybe got the kind of pace of like a Martin Boyle or anything like that, which we probably do need. But I think we've kind of got someone there that on his day can make a difference. But I would probably say a number 6 is probably what we're needing most out of all of that.
Right, we'll move on to Gent. Gent away. I tell you what, Shaun, you obviously you weren't there, so you'll have had a different kind of reaction to us when we saw the team lineups, right? So me and Gav were obviously in the brilliant fan zone that Ian Gordon laid on for the Hibs fans. I tell you what, like, see, before we talk about anything to do with the game, a massive shout out to Ian Gordon, because that was incredible. Like, there was a 1,000 odd Hibs fans there. It was, I think it opened at, it was like 2 o'clock, Gav, and all the way up till, I don't know, like 6 or half 6, there was free bevy, there was free food. All like the pub games were free, like all the pool. There was loads of pool tables. There was a fucking bowling alley. There was karaoke. There was shuffleboard. There was about 1,000,000 tellies. There was an arcade. It came what we need to do is we need to go to Belgium with a big massive fucking crane. We need to scoop that place up, and we need to bring it over, knock the Hibs Club down, and put that place where the Hibs Club used to be. Is what we need to do. Because I tell you what, that was incredible. And another massive effort from Ian Gordon, who was in mixing with the fans and talking to us all. Actually, there was a funny story that happened, right? So Mark was, I was with Mark, and we were sitting down at the table, and this guy came up, right? He was absolutely, mate, he was done. Like, he was absolutely done. He came up to Mark and he went, listen, just wanted to say like how appreciative I am of you and that. And Mark was like, what? And the boy was like, no, like, listen, everything that like you've done for the club, and just like want to say a massive thank you for putting all this on for us. Right? This guy thought Mark was Ian Gordon, right? And Mark went, no problem, man. And then the guy fucked off. And then he went and found Ian Gordon and told him, and he was like, you don't even fucking look like me, man. It was so funny, man. Genuinely. But yeah, we'll talk more about the trip later. Let's talk about the starting lineup. Shaun, you would have seen it from through a sober pair of eyes. When I saw it, I was a bit like, because no Boyle, no McGrath, no Callum Wright. Were you? What was your kind of initial reaction to seeing the team lines?
My initial reaction was that's exactly the team I was expecting David Gray to go with. David Gray seems to trust, and rightfully so, Josh Campbell in bigger games where he needs legs in the middle of the park and someone that's going to basically just break down play or basically cause fouls, ruffle him up a wee bit. That's what Josh Campbell is good at. So I wasn't really surprised to see that that's what he was in there to do, and that's exactly what he done. The rest of the team, for me, kind of speaks for itself. The only real one that probably would have been up for debate would have been Josh Campbell's spot. However, that's kind of what really then goes on to annoy me about the penalty, because Josh Campbell's literally scored one a week or two ago. So the team selection I was happy with, and I understood it. I didn't have any issues with it.
Yeah, I expected Boyle to play. Gav, I kind of expected Jamie McGrath to come in as well. But would you agree with Shaun there, or were you expecting a more sort of go for it attacking lineup?
I think we've seen with David Gray that I think first and foremost he got the team right. I think that was the best. I think it was the team that he should have played. I think it was. I get why he went for the team and played Campbell, because I think he. Well, certainly for the Hibs support, there was a wee bit of an unknown again. Didn't really know. Wasn't any players that you kind of recognised really, previous teams or other good teams in Europe. But I think he got the team correct, and I think the addition of Campbell, it did help at some point. I think other times it was a wee bit. I don't know if what he was asked to do was anything I'd maybe do. I don't know. I think he got it right. I think he did. The whole emphasis of the game, I think, was probably to try and keep us in it. And we've done that. I think that team line-up suggested that, try and keep us in the game so we can go back to Easter Road this coming week. Yeah. You got it right. You got it completely right.
I mean, I'm glad you think so as well, because at the time I was just thinking, what have we done here? Like, we're going to sit back, we're going to invite pressure. If we lose an early goal, we've got no one who can kind of turn it on going forward, or no one that you would expect apart from one Elding. Shaun, which kind of then comes on to how the game started, and I thought that when the game started and probably across the 90, we exerted a certain amount of control on the game. Yes, Gent are a good side, and yeah, they did zing it about quite nicely at times, but I did not feel really, and listen, I don't want to tempt fate here, and I don't want to jinx anything. I didn't feel like at any point they were head and shoulders particularly above us.
I wouldn't even think they were toes above us at any point. I'll happily go ahead and probably end up jinxing it. I'll say exactly how I saw it. I thought they were pretty poor, and I expected them to be a lot better. I don't know if they were fifth last season, if that's where they finished. I think maybe, I could be wrong. I just expected, I don't know if it's maybe the name and the European pedigree that they've had in the last kind of 10, 15 years. I just expected more from them. I felt like David Gray's game plan, which in fairness in recent weeks I've been very critical of, prior to Ibrox, I felt that he did get it spot on. Gav's right. And I think the way that we set up was exactly what we needed. We were very aggressive in the press at certain points in the game, where we would potentially at times, I was sitting watching and thinking that we overcommitted in an attacking press to try and win the ball back. And then it did leave us a wee bit exposed. But even when they did get in behind our midfield and they were running at our defence, we held up strong, and we limited them to very, very limited chances. I mean, if you look at the stats, it does look like a bit of a pumping that we've taken, and it does look like it was all them. But like, you can't just rely on stats with a football match. Watching it with your eyes, you can see that they didn't really have a lot of real quality, and defensively we shaped up really, really well. Yes, we didn't create as much as we probably would have wanted, but I don't really think that was the game plan going into it. I think the game plan was to nullify them, break up the play, just exactly what I said about Josh Campbell 5 minutes ago, but try and do that all over the park. And if we do get an opportunity to take it, we did get a couple of opportunities. We got a outstanding one in the first half, which Owen Eldon unfortunately wasn't able to take. But apart from that, other than their maybe halfway line shot, yeah, they created a couple of other chances, but I was never watching it like through it, like through my hands. I wasn't watching it in fear. I wasn't thinking, oh fucking hell, here we go again, attack after attack. There's a lot of games that we had last season under David Gray against a lot weaker opposition in the league, and I felt we looked more exposed than what we looked the other night, which is credit to David Gray, credit to the coaching staff, and credit to the whole team on the park.
An incredible assessment there from you, Sean. Did you kind of feel the same way, Gav? Because I think that, I looked at the highlights back, and obviously I've looked at the stats and everything, and when I look at it, I'm like, was it actually like that? Because it didn't feel like that at the time. I felt like they had a lot of the ball without doing an awful lot with it. We had an awful lot of the ball without doing an awful lot with it. And the amount of chances that were shown on the highlights for Gent, I don't remember it being that much of a sort of one-way traffic. Is that kind of how you remember it as well?
Yeah, well, I think they obviously started better, and it was a wee bit, we were kind of hanging on the first 5-10 minutes, but I felt we did grow into the game, and I kind of felt from probably about the penalty onwards, we probably had the better of it in terms of, we weren't doing much with the ball, but I felt we had a lot more of the ball going into half time, and obviously they kind of came out in the second half quite quickly again. But I do think what obviously Sean and yourself have said about the kind of lack of quality in front of goal. Both teams seem to be really good up until the edge of the box, and I think that was the main issue. They squandered quite a few chances. I felt they were brilliant at creating half chances. To be honest, that's one worry with Hibs, that we're not creating chances at the moment, but we look quite solid defensively, which is obviously different. Which is something that obviously Gray and the management team have improved from kind of last season being a wee bit leaky, a wee bit fragile. No, I think if I was a Gent fan, I'd be a wee bit frustrated that we didn't take some of these chances. I think Hibs played it the perfect away game in terms of trying to just perfect European away game, just try to take it back to their home.
Yeah. And I think that was something that David Gray spoke about, right, in his pre-match sort of press conferences and interviews with Hibs TV, is that, listen, we've just got to, if we can't win it, we've got to make sure that we've not lost it and we're not out of it. Which, I mean, there wasn't really many times on Thursday night where I thought they're going to give us a do in here. I think the first maybe 10 minutes, the sides feeling each other out, kind of getting a little bit of a grip on it. But again, I thought that we were really solid. I think that you can probably call a lot of similarities from that performance and the performance at Ibrox in terms of sort of defensive sort of awareness and mettle. And yeah, I mean, yeah, we did end up making our chance, and Warren O'Hora, I think it's Warren O'Hora, is filled in the box, and the referee points straight to the spot. I think it's weird, right? I feel like I've always got this sixth sense. I'm like, we're going to miss a penalty, but I think I'm like that whenever we get a penalty. I'm like, oh, we're going to miss it. But we got the penalty, Sean. Owen Elding steps up to take it. Big deep breath in, and it's contrary to my tweet, it's a poor penalty and it's saved. And you're thinking, what a chance we've just had there. How were you? Talk me through it from where you saw it.
Well, going by what you've just said, I take it you have seen the other angle now then. Yeah, I couldn't believe. Honestly, when I seen the tweet that you put, I just fucking pissed myself. I was like, is he still pissed or is he just not seen the other angle? Yeah, listen, Warren O'Hora does well to entice the foul and we get the penalty. I'm like you, I and it's nothing to do with Owen at all, but I just knew that we weren't scoring it. I just had a sense as well that it just wasn't going to go in. I don't know if I'm like that with every Hibs penalty. I probably am, but yeah, I didn't have any confidence in him finding the net, but that's not anything against him personally. I think any Hibs player could have stepped up and I wouldn't have felt confident. Maybe just the nature of the game and the magnitude of it as well. What frustrated me, now listen, I'm not a professional footballer, so Owen Eldon, feel free to not take my advice on this one, but in my opinion, he makes it far too obvious in his run-up in the way that he positions and open his body, where he's going to put it. It's a nice height, it's a nice position for the goalkeeper as well. It's not in the corner, it's not enough power either. Like, it's such an easy save for the goalkeeper. And at that point, once he misses that, I'm thinking, oh, fuck's sake, here we go. Like, the only opportunity that we're probably going to get. But I did say in the chat, like, I know this sounds very, very strange to say, but if we did score that might not have actually been a great thing for us, because Gent might have, it might have, and it's obviously hypothetically, kicked Gent into gear, and then they could have went on and ended up like bagging a goal, because we would have then naturally fell further back and more defensively. And next thing we know, we would have just been defending on our 18-yard box for the next 50, 60, 70 minutes. So I'm going to look at the positives and say, listen, it was fine that we missed it because we managed to get a 0-0 draw out of it. I'm not hanging my head on the fact that if we did score it, we would have went on to win the game, because I think it would have been very, very tough for us to do so if we did take the lead. I'm just hoping that if we do get an opportunity like that, whether it's Owen Eldon or anyone else in the squad on Thursday, that we take it.
I think you've hit the nail bang on the head there. Like the penalty was given and taken at about 14 minutes. So that's like what 75, 76 minutes, and then you've got added time on top of that, which I think all in what was about, I don't know, like 7 minutes ish. So I can't say for certain that if we score we go on to win the game, because I feel the same as you, Shaun, that if we score they are then forced to come out and then maybe their quality shines through a little bit more. However, if it was given in the 84th minute rather than the 14th minute, then you're thinking, if we score that, we've won. And it's a completely different game from then. But for me, Gav, I was scratching my head as to why Josh Campbell hasn't taken the penalty, given he stepped up and took one at Ibrox just a fortnight or so before.
Yeah, not of the opinion that Eldon. I think in hindsight we're all like, oh, but why did Campbell not take it? I don't think he can really lean up to that penalty. You couldn't have said to Eldon, no, I'm going to take it if you're another player in that squad, because I think he's the most informed player. I think that shows a lot of confidence in the guy that he wants to go up and take a penalty. My one query is, I'm not a big fan of people hitting it with their instep. Hitting a penalty with their instep. I'm like, you should hit it with your laces. Personally, I think that looking back at his run-up, it was very obvious. He didn't try and deceive the goalie in any way or anything like that. But it's something that I think you brush it off. It's not a big issue.
No,
It's not a big issue at all. I think it shows more that a guy that's like 19, 20 is going to take a penalty over some of the guys in that squad. It shows a bit more.
Exactly.
To be fair, but no, I think as well, on Eldon, I thought he got a bit of rough treatment for the Gent team. He seemed to be the one that they were certainly targeting, hauling back, fouling them and all that. And it was like, when is the referee going to branch a card for that? Because it was a few times it happened. He seemed to be the main one that they were aware of it, the Hibs squad that were starting.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you. I think that's a really good insight there, Gav, is like why open up and use your instep. You've seen players doing that, like that over sort of emphasis on hitting it with their instep as if they're going to go that way, and then at the last minute they wrap their foot around it and they put it in the opposite corner. But there wasn't really any sort of foolery or trickery or anything like that. I think what he was trying to do was get the ball in the corner. I don't think he was focusing on trying to hoodwink the goalie. I said it at the time. I went, listen, if you're unsure, you just smash the ball down the middle. You just absolutely thunder it down the middle, because 9 times out of 10, the goalie's got to move. The goalie's got to dive one way or another. Because if he stands in the middle and it goes down one side, then people are going to blame the goalie. So the goalie's got to make a decision. And if you can just smash it down the middle, then I think that's sometimes the best option. But, what I liked about that penalty, miss, what a stupid thing to say, was the reaction from players after the game. Warren O'Hora came out and spoke to the BBC and was like, listen, nobody blames Owen. He had the bollocks to step up and take the penalty. He basically went, he's stepped up and take a penalty. I'm never going to do that in my life. So I'm not planning. He was like, I'm not planning on taking a penalty. He's went up there in such a high pressure game, knowing the stakes to take a penalty. And yeah, he's well, technically he's not missed it. He's forced a save from the goalkeeper. But listen, it's 0-0. It sets up an incredible shootout at Easter Road on Thursday night. But yeah, Shaun, we'll just talk quickly about the second half, because I felt it was a bit of a muchness as the first. They had that wonderful effort from the halfway line that went over the bar. I think Raf makes a really good save from a chance that's headed back across the goal, and he kind of digs it out and makes a really good save from there. But the biggest one was Kyrell Wilson. The ball squared to him, and it looks like he doesn't care if he's going for a shite or a haircut. All he has to do is tap the ball in, and I don't know what he's trying to do. He's trying to control it in between his 2 feet or whatever, but that was a massive opportunity for them, and it kind of shows that they are also feeling the pressure as much as Hibs, and knowing that we can hurt them as much as they can hurt us.
Yeah, I think our second half performance was definitely better than the first on paper. I do feel like we maintained a strong chokehold of the game in the second half, and I feel like we never really looked like they were going to get in behind as often as they did in the first half. I feel like we controlled the tempo a wee bit more even without the ball. I feel like we controlled it, which was good. We were forcing Gent into the wider positions, and then we were basically getting bodies in the middle of the park and just being like, right, okay, if I can throw it in the box, then we'll just defend it. We've got 3 centre halves, we've got 2 midfielders, we've got our wing backs. Go for it. Break us down if you want, because you're not going to be able to. So we were limiting them from shots from far, and obviously they do get that chance that you've alluded to, and thankfully it just kind of goes in between his legs, and he obviously didn't manage to get anything on it. But even if he did, there was a covering defender there. I don't know if it was Jason Kerr or if it was O'Hora that would have been able to get the block in. So I think it would have been fine, and I don't think it would have came to anything. But yeah, you're right. You could see the pressure kind of start to tell on the Gent players as the game went on, because they have ultimately missed an opportunity to take an advantage from the first leg. And I think it's worked in our favour at the minute. Obviously, it's worked in our favour that the second leg is at Easter Road, because predominantly that's what you would rather have. You'd rather have the second leg at home.
Yeah, I think a special mention's got to go to Miguel Chaiwa for his performance across the 90 minutes. He covered every blade of grass on that pitch, I think, Gav. He was absolutely excellent and probably sparked an awful lot of the good that we were doing going forward. I do feel like towards the end of the game, we were pressing a little bit and we were pushing, and we had a couple of, not even half chances, but just like opportunities to actually do something. There was one that I was watching the highlights back, and it wasn't on the highlights, but there was one, the ball came across and it falls to the feet of Felix Paslak just at the edge of the right hand side of the box, and I was thinking, this is it, he's going to rip this, it's going to go top corner, but it just didn't happen. But Miguel Chaiwa was kind of that catalyst for good Hibs moves going forward. Did you kind of feel the same?
Yeah, I thought he was probably our best performer on the night. I do think about the kind of end of the game. It did look like we were starting to tire a wee bit. I did feel like guys like Paslak, and just due to the sheer concentration and work rate they had to do, they didn't look like they were the most kind of tired out of the whole squad. No, Shia was good. I think he was quite good at retaining the ball. As you said, there was a few opportunities when we were kind of getting the ball in transition, and it was kind of like a 4-on-5 in our favour, or just maybe the pass wasn't correct, or the player was offside. It was a very open game near the end. I think they were obviously going for it, trying to get something from the game. I think Chaiwa and certainly Paslak were really good for us, along with kind of guys like Mulligan. I'd say probably everyone everyone kind of in the kind of back five in midfield played like a solid 7 out of 10, I'd say. I think they had the concentration and the kind of belief that they were going to win the ball, and it was nothing bad was going to happen out of it.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think that perhaps a lot of that sort of added 5-10% that they needed towards the end of the game to keep Gent out and still spark attacks ourselves came from the support. A brilliant support, an absolutely jam-packed away end, and there was maybe about 100 or so Hibs fans in the home end as well, just to the left of the away support. But I mean, it was, the drum was going all night, the fans were singing all night, and we backed and backed and backed and backed. And the players, when they came over at the end, looked like they really appreciated it, looked like they knew that they'd put in a good performance. And I think that I'm not saying we were to thank for that, but I think that we were a big part of that, because I mean, like, yourself, Shaun, you've been on these away trips before. You know that having a loud and an active support, especially when you're so far away from home, can make such a difference.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I think that is one thing that, I mean, it's easy to say the Hibs support do that, and they do that in their numbers. I think every Scottish team do that, and I think when you look at like the Scottish teams in the Scottish League, I think the fans of those teams cherish these types of nights and these types of trips more than other people. That's probably a wee bit of bias in there as well. It just seems that way. It just comes across if you look at the way the Hearts fans travelled when they were in the group stages, the Aberdeen fans when they were in the group stages, Motherwell to their trips. Like, the Scottish fans will just find a way to get to wherever it is they need to get to. We've seen fans put on their own chartered flights for previous Hibs away European trips. We've seen buses get put on from Athens to Tripoli, organised by the Hibs fans themselves. It's good now that the club themselves are maybe trying to help out, like what you said earlier on about the Gordons renting out that whole venue for us as well and putting money behind the bar. They've done that, and was it Luzerne as well that they've done that? So listen, all these things do make a difference, and I think obviously we managed to get through from the previous round, but what happened in our first away tie has probably helped us in regards to the support and the bond between the players and the support now. Obviously, you guys and the Block 7 boys spoke about it on the episode as well, about the fact that, like, that seems to have had a positive impact rather than a negative impact within the club, which is great. Although it was obviously one of the worst results in Scottish European history, it won't matter an absolute jot if we manage to get the result on Thursday and get through, and then we'll have another couple of away ties to look forward to.
100%. I mean, Gav, it's a great sort of trajectory from where we've been, from Kosovo then to Ghent, and obviously the fans were great during the game, but I mean the trips are always the best bet. You've got your travel, and then you get there. I mean, we were there the night before. We were in that pub. It was called the Celtic Towers. There was a few different boozers, but I think that one was the most bouncing, right in the heart again. A beautiful city, by the way, really gorgeous, a proper sort of. I was going to say a proper old school city, but you know what I mean, like a proper kind of like neo Gothic sort of architecture and stuff. Like, everything was incredible, and the trip was fantastic, and the backing that the supporters gave. But did you enjoy it? That's the main thing, Gav. Did you have fun?
It was good. It was really good. I think it's always quite good to kind of sometimes do a wee bit of exploring a place as well. I quite like that. So I kind of felt when we were in Ghent, we kind of kept walked away a wee walk around Ghent on the Thursday, and you kept ending up in places where you were before. You're like, oh, I've just not been up that road, and I'm back at this square, and I'm back at that square. Like a maze. It was like a maze, honestly. But no, it was a really nice city. We got really quite good weather as well. No, it was really nice. And Hibs fans certainly boosted the Irish pubs economy.
Mate, honestly, you couldn't You couldn't move. You couldn't move in half the pubs. And then, to be fair, we never actually had a wander around Gent at all until the day we were coming home. But it was genuinely a really, really, really nice city. The people were lovely. I didn't see any Gent fans at all, though. Like, we were talking about this, after the game, and I'm not too sure if maybe they've been told don't go and mix with them, or just if they, congregate elsewhere, maybe a bit closer to the stadium. I don't know, but I didn't see any Gent fans really at all. But the pubs were great, and like I said before, the pub that Ian Gordon laid on was excellent. What I do want to mention though is a lot of people came and spoke to me and said that they really loved the podcast. It was just such a nice thing to hear from so many people. So it was very nice to get a lot of nice feedback on the pod, especially from Ali and his son Aldo, who I spoke to at the airport for a good 15-20 minutes, kind of talking about all the things on the pod. He said to me that he looks forward to it every Monday for his drive to work. So I said, listen, I'll try and get one out for you for Monday morning. So if you're listening, Aldo and Ali, this is your Monday morning podcast. So it was great to chat to a lot of people who listen to the pod and that. And it was just a very, very nice trip. And it also makes it so much better that we didn't get beat. But, Shaun, before we move on to getting at home, I've been waiting all summer for this. I've been waiting all summer for a quiz. And I tell you what, I'm going to get the song up because it's been that long. Where are we? Quiz intro. Here we go. Take it away.
Well, I'll let you know that the answer will not be Stephen Fletcher or Rocky Bashiri in this week's quiz. Trying something different. I've actually had something similar in my notes for months, and I've just never had the opportunity to use it because for the majority of the pods last year, it was only ever 2 people on it. So we need a multiplayer quiz, which is exactly what we're getting. There are different variations of what we're about to do, but we're going to keep it nice and simple. What we are doing today, gents, is we are doing time difference. So, for those of you...
I've heard this on TalkSport.
Yeah, so we're doing the TalkSport version. We're not doing the flat chat version because they do a point scoring system. We're doing the TalkSport version. So for whether, Gav, you've seen it before or listeners that have not seen it before, the rules within the game are very, very simple. I'm going to say or state a goal that has happened at some point in the history of Hibernian Football Club. All you need to do is tell me what minute that goal was scored. You want the lowest score possible. So, for example, Stephen Fletcher, I think Stephen Fletcher did actually score a goal against Hearts after like a minute, right? I think way back in the day. So if I use that goal and Liam, you said 5 minutes, your score would be 4. Gav, if you said 10 minutes, your score would be 9 because that's the amount of minutes that you're away from said goal. So that's the premise of the quiz. That's how it works. So you want to get as close to that as possible. I have 5 goals here that we're going to go through, and they are all European ties that Hibs have played. Now, the last one, I've only included it, hopefully because, in fact, I'm not. Do you know what? I'll not even explain. 2 seconds, my doors actually just went, Liam. You're going to have to cut that out.
No worries. I love this game, man. They play it on TalkSport. Have you It's good, mate. It's good. It's good fun. It's good. Like, this is something that like nobody kens anything about that fucking. Right, Shaun, I'm going to set a marker. Just start from your first question.
Right, so we have 5 goals. We're going to work our way back in time as well. The earliest or most recent one first, and we'll work our way back. And I'll give my explanation as to what I was alluding to when we get to it. First one, on the 14th of August 2025, Hibs played Partizan Belgrade what I would like you and Liam, you're going to tell me your minute first, just so we can get into the rhythm for Gav, and then Gav, you can tell me the minute. Tell me the minute that Kieran Bowie scored that goal at home against Partizan Belgrade.
Now, I've been thinking about this ever since you started saying that we were playing time difference, and I knew that this goal was going to come up. I've been trying to rack my brains, and I don't actually know, but I know that it wasn't too far. I think it was like maybe in the middle of the second half. I'm going to go 68.
Okay, so Liam, you've said that Kieran Bowie's goal was in the 68th minute. Gav, what minute do you think the goal was scored in?
I'm going to go
You could be a scumbag
58.
and go 67.
58 minute, maybe.
Or did you say 58 or 68?
58.
58, okay. Okay, so Kieran Bowie scored that goal in the 60th minute. So that gives Gav a
You
score
bastard.
of 2 and Liam a score of 8. Gav,
It's
you're
alright,
going to
we'll
go
get it
first for
back.
the
We'll
next
get it
one.
back.
You're going to go first for the next one, okay? On the 10th of August 2023, we had that game at home against Luzerne, where we won 3-1. Jordan Labita scored, so did Joe Newell. But the man that we mentioned earlier on, Dylan Venti, scored. So I'd like you, Gav, to tell me what minute Dylan Venti scored his goal.
Did Dylan Venti not score in the 72nd minute?
The 72nd minute, are you saying?
I think.
Yep,
I think
72nd.
Okay.
I think it was a lot earlier. I think it was a lot earlier. I think it's maybe. I'm going to go 60.
You're going to go 60. So, one of you have it spot on. Dylan Venti scored in the 72nd minute. Well done, Gav.
Fuck
Bang
off, man.
on the money. So, scores on the doors at the minute.
He's Googling these.
It looks like you were Googling that
He's
Well,
one.
Googling these.
Gav is on a score of 2 after 2, and Liam is on a score of 20 after
But
2. But it could all change, Gav. It could all change, don't you worry. Right, Liam, you're going to go first for the next one. 26th of July 2018, Hibs pulled off a miraculous comeback at home against Tripoli, where we were 2-0 down. David Gray scored the second goal in that game. I'd like to know what minute David Gray scored that goal to take the score to 2-2, leading into the last part of the game.
you were going. What you were going to say?
I was about to.
I think Canberra scored like right at the end. I've genuinely no idea. I've no idea. I'm going to. I was there that night. I remember the goal. I'm going to say 81.
81 minutes, you've said. Gav?
I'm going to go with, well, obviously Gray scored one of the last kick of the ball, and then Canberra, he probably scored about 60th. I'm going to go about 73rd minute for David Gray.
73rd minute. So, I'll have you both know that you are actually both very close. Liam, you're 4 away with your shout of 81.
Yes.
Gav, you are 3 away with your
Fuck's
shout
sake.
of 74.
I'm getting there.
It was
I'm
the
getting closer.
77th minute. So that gives Gav a score of 5 and Liam a score of 24. Okay.
Nice.
David Gray's also scored
I need
another
you to have a nuke in the last two,
iconic
Gav.
European goal, and that was away to Bromby on the 21st of July 2016. So, Gav, I'd like you to tell me what minute David Gray scored that goal to give us the 1-0, what went on to be a 1-0 win away at Bromby.
Total guess, was it maybe the 62nd minute?
Interesting. That is an interesting shout. That's all I'm going to say. Okay. Liam,
I bet
hit me.
that'll be bang on, I'm sure. So I don't even want to play this game anymore. 63rd.
You playing safe here, Liam, just in case he's got it right.
Well, it was your
That's
reaction, to
scumbag
be
right
fair.
there.
You were like, very
Yeah,
interesting.
your reaction was quite.
Yeah, but he could have
I
scored
had
in
him
the
way
90th
off it.
minute. He could have scored in the
But he
90th
didn't.
minute, or he could have
He
scored in
didn't
the
score in the
40th
90th
minute.
minute though.
No, he didn't.
He
It was
scored in the
half.
second. He scored in the second half.
Aye.
It was early on in the
Gav.
second half.
Just to let you know, your total score will be remaining at 5 because you're spot on with 62.
I knew it. Fucking arsehole.
So, going into the last one, and this is where it could all change, and this is why.
Like, Gav, you need to say the first minute in this game. You need to say the first minute, and I can get it right.
You got a chance.
Aye.
Now, because the score's on the doors, Gav, I'm going to get you to go first, so you then can't scumbag your way into a victory based on whatever minute that Liam picks. Okay?
He says, yeah,
So,
that's fine.
going into the last game, Gav, you're sitting on a total score of 5, and Liam, you're sitting on a total score of 25. This 27th of September 2001, Hibs played AEK Athens at home. We won 3-2.
I wasn't even born then.
We won 3-2, but it's an iconic
Maybe a
game,
total
and that's
part.
why it's in here. We won 3-2, and it famously went into extra time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to tell you which goal this was, but I would like you
Or
to
what
tell
minute
me
did we hit the goal?
what minute did David Zatelli score for Hibs? And this is why I left it last.
105th. 105th.
Liam?
I definitely got that wrong, percent.
What are you laughing at, Liam?
I've not got a clue. But I'm going
It's
to bank
against
on that
Athens.
he's got it.
That's
Like,
your team. Liam, that's your team. Athens are your team. You should know.
I know. I've seen the goals. I obviously wasn't at the game. I was too young. I don't know what goal does it tell you. I don't know if that was the equaliser or but if you go on 105, I'm going to go with 47 and hope that you've got it horribly wrong and I get it closer.
I have a feeling I've got it horribly wrong as well. But
I've probably got it horribly wrong too.
So it would just be who's
Right. Here we go. You say 47, Liam, yeah?
I did, yeah.
So, let me add.
It's got to
the
do some
total
big
scores
calculations
together
here.
for everyone.
See, when I said it, I don't even think it has even scored in extra time for what I remember. So I think I'm probably totally off
I've
of
got,
that. But
I've got no idea.
Well, I'll give you a clue, Gav. It was 2-2, and we did, or was it 2-1?
right,
Either way, Hibs did score in extra time. We did score. Now, Zatelli was the one that scored in extra time, and it was the 115th minute. So you were 10 off, Gav. So that gives you a final score of 15, and that gives Liam a final score of 93. So yeah, everyone can let us know in the comments or the replies to the tweets.
The gamble
posts.
didn't work.
Did you
The
get
gamble
better
did
than
not
Gav,
work.
or did you at least get better than Liam? Let us know.
Thing is, I don't even think I've had that much of a nook until the last one. He's got 2 answers bang on.
Aye, he's done extremely well.
yeah.
I don't think I'll have him back on the podcast, to be honest. No thanks.
I can't believe you're chucking a permanent member of the Ramble off the Ramble because you got beaten in a quiz. Is that why Craig doesn't come on the pod anymore? Because he used to beat you every week.
No, he doesn't come on the pod anymore because I beat him one time and he couldn't handle it. Right, okay, let's talk about getting it home. Now, we've kind of said a lot of things about style of play, and Shaun, you said earlier on that obviously you didn't think that there were toes above us, never mind head and shoulders. They obviously come to Easter Road on Thursday night, and it looks like it's going to be a packed Easter Road. Half of the South Stand already sold out. I think they're on maybe the third block from the left as you're looking at it along the top tier, and they're opening it up block by block for Hibs fans. So if you're listening and you don't have a ticket already and you want to go but you think it's sold out, it's not yet at time of recording at 3 o'clock on Sunday. So get along to the website, get your seat bought, because hopefully it's going to be a real historical night of football at Easter Road. But that being said, Gav, do you think that a full Easter Road could be the difference on Thursday?
Ultimately, yes. I think, I don't know if it's just obviously Gent. I think Gent are maybe a model that Hibs want to try and become, in terms of they've got into the Conference League a few times over the last kind of 5 years of its
And Champions
inception.
League.
So I think that is something that they need, that Hibs should strive to. I do think, going a bit off topic there, but going back to the crowd, I don't know how big a crowd they're going to bring. I can't imagine it being that much if we're selling quite a lot in the South Stand.
They've been allocated, I saw a tweet from Kieran Power online today, they've been allocated 1,000, but I think I also read somewhere that they are only expected to bring like between 150 and 300 fans. So that should then, Kieran Power said that he was like, he'll do everything in his power to open up as much of the South Stand as possible if there's demand from Hibs fans, which I can only assume that there will be. Listen, we're at Sunday now. The game's not till Thursday, and there's only like 1, 2, 3. Well, most is block 34, then 35, 36 on the top tier to sell, and then it might just be a handful of tickets through on the bottom tier, because I think we've sold as much as we can on the bottom tier so far. So it's going to be packed from all sides with Hibs fans. So here's hoping that we can get that allocation sold out, because I really do think it will be the difference, Shaun.
Yeah, I do think so as well. I actually think, from a game plan perspective, that the game plan in comparison to the first leg is kind of going to be flipped a wee bit. I think Gent are going to be happy to let us have the ball and try and lure us into a false sense of security, and then maybe try and catch us on the break and play for set pieces and corners and stuff like that. Not because like their game plan didn't work the other night, because it obviously didn't, because they didn't score. But I just think that's what they'll try and do to allow us to try and open up and create a little bit more space, because a lot of their opportunities did come from us maybe over pressing and being a little bit more aggressive in the press. So listen, I think we'll go with a similar shape. I think Martin Boyle might come back in, although I wouldn't be against it being the same team and Campbell being there, or McGrath being in there, because I do feel like we'll still need the three in the middle of the park. I'm very intrigued as to see how the two teams shape up tactically. I'll be sitting in the famous five upper for this one, so I'll get a good view of it all unfolding. And just because of the not just because of the nature of the game, but I'm looking forward to it from a spectacle side of things as well. If we win, we go into European group stage football, which the Gordons have been trying to get us in since they took over and since they've been involved in the club, and we've thrown a lot of money at managers and players to get us there.
And fans.
It could end up being David Gray that takes us there, which there'd be something quite nice about that as well, considering everything else that he's achieved at the club.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sitting here, right, and it's Thursday, and I'm thinking, I just wish it was Thursday tomorrow.
You're
I
sitting here and it's
cannot
Thursday.
wait. Did I say I'm sitting here and it's Thursday?
I'm
I meant
sitting
to say
here
I'm
and it's
sitting here and it's
Thursday, and
Sunday.
I'm wishing it's Thursday.
I'm sitting here and it's Sunday, and I'm wishing it was Thursday in the morning. I just cannot wait. I really cannot wait for this game. It's going to be, like you said, it is going to be a spectacle. The crowd is going to be bouncing. If last season is anything to go by, in terms of what it was like at home to Midtjylland and Partizan Belgrade. Legia Warsaw is a bit different because that was the first leg at home. Yeah, listen, it's going to be the fans are going to be there in full voice. I think that there might be a wee tifo up in the famous five, or there might not be. I don't know. But yeah, listen, it's going to be.
So it depends if the donations have been flying in.
I mean, it's going to be great. It's going to be brilliant, and I think that if we can manage to get through, it's going to be one hell of a party. It seems like I don't know if this is right or I might be making this up, but has there ever been a team out with Celtic and Rangers who have went through a qualifying period and actually qualified at the end of it, or has it always just been that they've got to like a playoff for the competition above and then they've dropped down into the next group stages?
In recent memory, don't think there has been, and even Celtic and Rangers certainly in recent history haven't done that as often. They've obviously done it, but out with Celtic and Rangers, I don't think there has been. I mean, we could maybe start looking in the 10s and the noughties and the 90s and that. There probably is something somewhere, but certainly in recent history, especially with the three competitions and the way that it's pretty much worked in a club's favour, that you can fall into a playoff and then all you need to do is just win a game and get through. So there could be a wee bit of history in that as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think like he's mentioned earlier on, if we can flip the script from Kosovo away to now looking into Gent at home, and this is a straight shootout, it's a cup final essentially, to get into the European League phase, and I just think it would be incredible. I'm expecting Hibs to go a little bit more, a wee bit more of an attacking lineup. I think we'll see Boyle start. Gav, Shaun says he's not too sure if he would make any changes. Would you?
I would. I think I would maybe look at replacing Lowe. I know he got a lot of positive kind of feedback for his work on Thursday night. I do think that what we're wanting him to do, I don't know if he's at the moment got the confidence or what. I just believe that I think Eldon maybe is better at doing what we're wanting Lowe to do. So I would maybe go with kind of a front two stroke, kind of front three of maybe Eldon, Boyle and McGrath if he's fit. Otherwise I'd maybe swap out with Callum Wright. I think I'd go with that. I think that'll be more effective in the game and will then maybe potentially lean forward to being a bit more potent and being a bit more direct. Going forward, I felt we've been a wee bit slow at times playing and maybe seeing the pass a wee bit too late in transition phases going up the pitch. Yeah, they're the only changes I would make. Probably Low for McGrath.
Yeah, and I do think that kind of subconsciously the players will probably be a little bit more open to attacking and getting the ball forward a bit quicker, purely based on the reaction that the crowd is going to give them. If Hibs can get forward and make a chance in the first couple of minutes, we just, and I'm going to go back to the crowd again, but we need to make it an absolutely horrible place for Gent fans, Gent players, Gent coaching staff. We need to make it a disgusting place that they'd never want to come back to. That's one thing that they never did, because there was fucking nobody there on Thursday night. A very poorly supported Conference League playoff tie. I thought it was a bit poor. I mean, maybe because they feel like they battered us, or maybe because they get there all the time and they couldn't be arsed. Like, who knows? But very poorly supported, a shite home support really in Gent, and I just hope that we can egg the players on. But before we go to listener questions, I am going to put you on the spot, and I want a prediction. Shaun, give me your score prediction. Are we going through on Thursday night?
2-1 Hibs after extra time.
Fucking come on! Who's your scorers?
Eldon bags a double.
2 penalties.
Redemption for the penalty miss.
Go on then.
I think it'll go all the way. I think 1-1, and I think we'll sneak it on penalties.
Oh, I don't know if I could watch
I think we'll
that.
sneak it on penalties. I could see it being a wee bit like a wee bit nervy for both sides, maybe not wanting to lose it. I think I'm going to go 1-1. I think O'Hara, he'll win it on penalties for us. He'll take a penalty and score
I
it.
may imagine it. I think, right, this is what I think. We'll score in like the first 10 minutes, right? And it'll be backs to the wall for the next 80, right? And then it'll be like 5 minutes added on, and they'll be throwing everything at it, and they'll get a corner. The goalie's going to come up for it, and then the corner will come in, it'll get cleared, and someone's going to run up the park and just tap it into an empty net, and Easter's going to go fucking mental. And I think Hibs will win 2-0.
Would not.
Sometimes they're the best. When it's like it's not technically a last minute winner, like because you're not drawn at the time, but it like to put you 2 goals up, and it means that like you're absolutely not going to get beat. Sometimes just as good as a last minute winner, eh? But I think that's what's going to happen. But then again, I said 8-0 Hibs on Thursday night, so.
And we never looked like scoring. And we never looked like scoring.
I know.
Yeah. I had one chance, and that was literally it.
Yeah.
One chance, 1.5 chances in 90 minutes.
But I think Hibs will go through in the 90. I think it will probably be for a lot of the game a bit of a backs to the wall job. However, I do think we'll get it over the line. I really do, and if we do, it's going to be one hell of a sunshine on leaf afterwards. I'm just really looking forward to it, and I think whatever happens, if we win, if we lose, I think that you can probably be fairly proud of the performance of the team. I'm not going to say you can be proud of the performance yet. I've not watched the performance yet, but you'll probably be able to be proud of the team, and that's the main thing. And hopefully we can, if we don't go through, we can get ourselves in a similar position next season and have another right good go at it. But I don't think.
I think as well, to add to that, surely the experience that we've been in that position before, we've been in a playoff round,
30 seconds to play,
and I think this season with the defensive concentration, surely they've learnt from previous mistakes. And obviously it's easy enough to say because Gent are a bit more experienced than that, but we should be better suited to playing in a kind of second leg of a playoff round.
Yeah, and again, I think like you said, Shaun, having a second leg at home is just a massive, massive advantage.
Yeah,
because none of the other teams have got second leg at home. Celtic, Rangers, Hearts, and Motherwell are all away.
Yeah, it's worked in our favour having the home leg to come on to. Obviously, Celtic will go through. That ties over.
It could just be us and Celtic in Europe.
Wouldn't mind it. The good guys. The good guys
Do you
are
think
back.
do you think the other teams will do all right? Do you think they'll end up going through?
I think somehow Rangers will find a way and they'll get through it. I think that'll probably go all the way. I think that'll be a really, really tough game for them. Hearts drawn 2-2 against Rapid Vienna was a great result for them. Although I don't think they'll be able to get the job done away from home. I think it's a very tough place to go. Rapid looked like they had another gear to go if they needed to, and Hearts rode their luck at times, although it was a relatively decent performance by them. And Motherwell are gone. Sorry, Gogsy. Motherwell are so gone.
I mean, I'm going to say it right. I looked at the Motherwell, like a lot of the Motherwell stuff came up on my Twitter, like people reposting it and that, especially videos of the goal and stuff. I've never seen a club more delighted to be beaten 3-1 at home. You know?
It's
the same as Hearts last year. I've never seen a club more delighted to lose the league in the last 2 minutes.
So, I think the game against Fiberflames all over the place.
Well, yeah, embarrassing. Yeah, let's answer the listener questions.
Now it's time to answer the Hibs Ramble listener questions.
Okay, first off, as always, it's Mr. John McIntosh, and he asks, what's for dinner, before adding, unbelievably excited for Thursday. Think it could be our time. And then the eyes emoji, the one that's us. So, Gav, what are you having for dinner?
I don't know.
What did you
I
have for
don't
dinner
know.
last night?
I had a few spare slices of pizza that were left when I got back from my flight. So yeah.
You never got back until last night, I'm forgetting. Shaun, what are you having?
Spaghetti with chicken Milanese or Milanese, however you want to pronounce it.
Nice.
Excited.
I like that.
Starving.
I'm
Be
having
making it
scampi
as soon
and
as we're
chips.
off this. Oh,
I'm having
that's
scampi
very
and
old
chips
school dinner.
for my dinner. But I had an Indian last night. I got a takeaway Indian last night. It was great. It was like a fucking mountain of food. It was ridiculous. I had to have half it for my lunch the day. Absolutely ridiculous
like
amount
you.
of food, but no, it was delicious. Shout out. Yeah, no, it wasn't. Came what I had. I never usually get an Indian takeaway, so I'll let you rate it for me, right? It was a set meal because I was like, it's so much cheaper, like doing a set meal, and you still got so much stuff. So it was a set meal, and it was you could upgrade it if you wanted from veg pakora to chicken pakora, but I upgraded it from veg pakora to mushroom pakora because I've never had mushroom pakora before. And it sounded lovely. So I had mushroom pakora. We had spicy onions as well. Poppadoms, an onion bhaji, or 2 onion bhajis. They were the size of the fucking McDonald's quarter pounders. They were huge. And then I had a lamb Rogan Josh and rice and chips. And
No
a big
wonder you
massive
had
fucking
loads left.
garlic cheese naan.
Aye, I'm not
And
surprised.
a big
double-
massive
for
garlic
double
cheese
carb
naan.
in it.
Yeah, the pakora was great, but it wouldn't have travelled until today, so I had to eat all that last night. I've been on the shitter all day, like, but it's worth it. So I take it everyone agrees with John saying Thursday. Think it could be our time.
Yes.
Yeah, good. Colin asks, saying, what was your favourite part of your trip to Ghent, and what was your impression of Belgium? Gav.
Well, the trip was good. I think my overall feelings towards Belgium is that they've got good travel links and they've got double-decker trains, which I've never, ever came across in my life.
It's quite cool, eh?
That was quite something different, quite kind of futuristic and that, yeah. Didn't have that here.
Their travel links were great. Although,
Yeah.
it seemed like the whole of Ghent was getting done up by
Oh.
roadworks.
It's like they're just
So-
like, well, we were in a restaurant on the Wednesday night, and supposedly it's just been there some type of festival or something. So the guy in the restaurant was like, "Oh, and none of us sleep during the 3 weeks in this holiday. We just go out, and after work we go out and party till 6 a.m. or something like that." So
Mate,
I don't know if it was maybe just like renovations after their kind of partying couple of weeks
after
or
all
something
the
like that. I
feral
don't know.
Belgians going out all the time. But I know, see, you like they love a fucking bevy over there, man. I asked the guy.
Straw.
We were in that Celtic Towers, and then when that shut, we went over to another pub that was like, if you came at the Celtic Towers, it was like across the road diagonally, like across
Oh.
where all the bikes were, and it was
Aye.
like a wee pub there. Right, so we went in, like, and they had all the music on and that, and then like I leaned over at the barman. I went, "What time do you shut?" And he went, "Whenever you stop drinking." And I went, "It's a good answer, to be fair." I had to call it a night like 4:00 both nights. I was like, I cannot keep doing this to my body. I can't hack it anymore. But no, my favourite part of my trip to Ghent, I think, was just mixing with all the Hibs fans and having a great time, having a few beers, and yeah, my impressions of Belgium. It was a beautiful place, nice chocolate. That's it.
Good
I
waffle.
don't think I'll go back.
Nah, neither. I think I've kind of been there, done that,
TikTok.
seen it. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Can't wait for us
I remember
to
people
draw
said that Brussels was
Bruges in the group stage, and then you all go back.
Circle of Bruges.
Aye.
But to be fair,
Yeah.
like Gent, I'll probably not go back to Gent, but just because it was a bit of a pain in the arse to get to.
I think Gent's probably the same as Bruges, probably. You go to Ghent and it's probably like similar buildings and all that.
Aye,
500 squares of going back in nature like a maze. So,
and feral Belgians going it until 6 a.m.
yeah.
Next up is John McIntosh again. And he's saying, is it any more signings needed? I know we kind of covered this a little bit earlier on, but if you had to put a number on it, how many players you want in before the end of the window, how many would you want, Sean? Regardless
One,
of
as long
outgoings.
as that means, well, you can't say regardless of outgoings, because if we have
Well, I
outgoings,
can.
one number
No,
would
just
obviously
say-
change. So if we have no outgoings, then one.
Okay. Go on then.
I think probably 2 signings, and they actually need to be. We need to try and get players that improve the team. I think a few of the signings at the moment we're a wee bit unclear on if they will do that, and I think we need to get people that will and try and improve the team. I know that's what every team looks for, but that's certainly what we need to do.
I would say 2 as well, to be fair. I would say 2 before any outgoings. I'd like a striker and Jacob Devaney. That's what I want. Cheers, Sean. Nice picture you taking me there. Next up, John Tolmie, Mr. Rambler. Good lad. Mr. Rambler says, favourite Hibs away/third kit in the last 10 years? So this is a question for Sean. So the last 10 years since, what will we do, 16-17, which was the Bromby away year. Did we have a third kit that year?
I'll look at the
bright yellow away one.
I'll have a look at the Persevere Originals post, because he posted them all literally yesterday.
Yeah. Is there any that stand out to you, Gav, while Sean's looking for that?
Yeah, I quite like the one that you were wearing on Wednesday night. That's quite a
The
nice
black one, the black and mint one.
Quite kind of simplistic. It's quite nice. This season's one's probably a banger as well.
Aye, this season I prefer the yellow version of this season's one. The one that, but I mean it's good. I mean, it's not. I don't think it's my favourite. I really like the black and mint one and the sunshine on Leith one are my favourites. I mean, away ones are good as well. Like the pinstriped white pinstriped Joma one's smart as.
Yeah,
like that one too.
I think I genuinely believe that if you look at away kits and third kits, the black one with the mint green that you alluded to, the one that's famous for our win at Ammonvale or the Tony Mac, that for me is one of the best away kits, third kits that we've ever produced. So
yeah,
that for me, I think the order that
kits don't need to be. They don't need to be complicated, man.
No,
they don't
simple. They don't need to be flashy. They don't always need to have a design on them, and that proves that it can be nice and simple. I think the order that Persevere Originals put the third kits in is pretty much bang on. To be fair, yeah, there isn't really too much wrong with the order that they've got in. So yeah, I would definitely do the black with the mint green, and then the one that I've got on here. But the pinstripe, the black pinstripe one for last year was nice as well. I think that's probably one that'll age well as well.
See that one, like that one. I just didn't really like. I mean, I liked the badge last year, but see when it had the circle around it, it just made. I don't know if it made it look smaller or if it was actually smaller.
It was actually smaller. Yeah.
I didn't like that. It was just it was a bit too small for me. I mean, I liked the hooked one for last year. That was the only one that I got from last year, I think. But yeah, I don't think that really counts as a third kit, really, doesn't it?
Like a special kind of anniversary kit, I think. More.
I think it was actually the 5th one that we released that year as well. That's a joke. That's incredible, Jeremy. 5 kits. Yeah, I would say the black one. What one are you going for, Sean?
The black and the mint.
You have to pick one. Yeah.
Black and the mint one, yeah.
Lovely stuff. I love it when I'm right. Next up, Spot asks, Hibs Observer says, we have a false depth because Gray didn't bring Cadden, Suto or Abdullahi on at any point on Thursday. What are your thoughts on this? Do you see any of the 3 getting minutes on Thursday. I'm not too sure what a false depth actually means, but I think Cadden probably wasn't risked just because of the intensity of the game, but I mean, it probably would have been quite intense playing it. So I think he probably wasn't risked for that reason. But I don't think Adam Mayer really did anything to merit getting hooked either. Suto, I think he maybe could have came on for Low, and then Abdullahi maybe could have came on instead of Joe Newell. So I mean, listen, I don't know. I think if it goes to extra time on Thursday, you would imagine that he'll make better use of his bench. But yeah, were you surprised that none of the three came on Thursday, Sean?
I think just in regards to the false depths, just referring to the fact that because they weren't there or weren't involved, it makes the squad depth look worse than what it probably is, which is what we were referring to earlier about injuries and stuff like that. I think Suto will have a part to play on Thursday. I really do, especially if his back's against the wall at one point as well. I think he'll come on for Low and would probably do a similar job. So yeah, I think he'll definitely have a part to play. I don't think Nicky Cadden will though.
And that's it. That's it for questions. Wow. What a podcast this is, an hour and 38 minutes. Fucking hell. Well, listen, lads, an absolute pleasure to chat away to you this afternoon. So, yeah, if you don't already, make sure you get us on socials. We are on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok. If we are on a social media, we will be at the Hibs Ramble. So make sure and find us on your favourite socials if you haven't already. Get a ticket for Thursday if you haven't already. Make sure you're getting on to e-ticket in at Hibs and get a ticket because they are going quickly. There's only 3 sections left in the top tier on the south stand, which you would imagine there's about 150 seats in each section, so 400 odd seats left. There might be a little bit opening up on the bottom tier, but we don't know that yet. So get your seat booked now so you don't miss out on what could be an incredible night of football in Leith on Thursday. We play Dundee next after Gent, don't we? So we'll probably be back next week on Monday, to chat through both of those games. Hopefully looking ahead to an extended run in Europe up until at least Christmas for the Highbees and a win against Dundee at Dens Park. But listen, Gav, massive thank you to yourself, Sean, as well. A big thanks for joining me this afternoon. And yeah, have fun at the game on Thursday. Be safe. Don't do anything stupid. Don't throw anything on the fucking park.
Let's get ready to rumble. Let's get ready to rumble.
Don't run on the park. Just back the team and hopefully we'll get through. Bye.
Let's get ready to rumble.